Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, students. So this is Raja again. So the second video, I'd like to continue the steps 5, 6, 7. So step 5, we wanted to add the table to the on the customer worksheet to the data model. So that's the customer worksheet, and this is the table. So I'm going to just load it to add it to the data. We kind of leave this here connection, but all we need to do here is to add the table to the data model. Okay, so it's basically you just need to check this here and clicking OK. So if you click on the property here, since it's loaded to the worksheet and data model. So this table is now part of the data model. So that's what we need to do for step 5. And clicking on the data tab and launching the managing data model. So we're going to work on the pivot Power Pivot tool. Okay, so we get in here, you have the 4 tables. So what we need to do, use the Power Pivot tool to create the relationship between these tables. So I want to create a relationship. So between, start with one by one, between the employee. I'm actually going to do that first with the customers using customer ID and the transaction and using customer ID. So that's a one relationship. You have to make sure that these highlighted. So these are the using this field for both tables. So that's a one relationship. And if I click on manage relationships, open my other window. As you can see, I have one here, and I create another one between the product, where I have the product. So between the product and transactions, and now using the product ID is the matching between the two. I create a third between the employee so we have the product and transaction. Okay. Employee and the transaction, and then again using the employee ID as matching. So you should have a 3 relationships, and both 3 of them are connected, or the 4 tables now are connected. Customers with the transactions, and product with the transaction, and the employee with the transaction. And we close this window. At this point, I should have the relationship ready, so we should be able to do the next step to create a calculated. We create a calculated fields. Okay, so using these connections. So on the transactions table, we're going to add 3 calculated fields: revenue, cost, and profit, meaning using formulas. So this is one of them. I'm going to start one by one. I'm going to use the DAX functions related. So this is functions that's used in the Power Pivot table. Very powerful functions that we use. So I'm going to use the related because it's, the related function. It relates the tables. So the kind of when you have a relationship between tables, we use this functions when we perform calculations across the tables. So we're going to use I'm just typing equal sign in here, and then type related or find this. So now as it says here, so because I have the cost, the unit cost and the price are both, and the product ID, the kind of product ID and product type, all of these are kind of, all the tables fields are here, so we can use any one we need. So we're going to start with the unit to calculate the revenue. So we need the unit price times quantity. Unit price times quantity, it's from the transaction table, so I open a bracket and find the quantity here, close the bracket, so just one bracket. So that should be the related to the unit price from the product table times a quantity from transactions, and hit enter. Should have, yeah, that's the calculations, that's the revenue. So this, I'm gonna just go ahead and change the generic name here to as is described in the instructions. Okay, moving forward to make a second calculation for the cost, and we're going to also reference to the cost from the product table. So again, related unit cost, okay, times quantity. And hit enter. And column field also, title, sorry, we're gonna change this to costs. Okay. And the last, the second or the last calculation here in this step here is to calculate the profit, where it's gonna be it's just a custom formula, revenue. We already have that revenue field minus cost. Okay, so we make a calculation and add the title here. Profits. Okay. So with that, we completed steps 5, 6, and 7 in this. End this section and record a new video to perform steps 8, 9, 10 together.